Wow, this is taking a long time.
Hey everybody, welcome to the first of our interview series here for the CSL. I'm your host, Spencer the Heel Boy Campbell, and with me is my co-host, Tim Shindigs-Young. And we've got some great players, big names from the last season from CSL with us. We've got Matt, Steve, and Matthew. Now those names might not mean anything yet, but Matt Dipple is the coordinator for RPI, the team that took third place last season. We have Steve, who is the coordinator for, may know him as Monk. He was the coordinator for Waterloo. And then we have last Matthew, who is our Jensulator, big name player from the CSL. So I guess, why don't we go ahead and let you guys introduce yourselves a little bit. We'll start with Matt. So why don't you just tell us a little bit about yourself, your major, school, etc.
Sure. Well, like you already said, my name's Matt Dipple. I'm a math major going to my junior year at RPI. And besides coordinating the StarCraft team, I'm also heavily involved in putting a mathematics competition. And so I do a lot of math club stuff as well.
Nice. All right. Moving on. Steve?
Hi, my name is Steve Sien. I'm a CS major. I'm in my third year. And I'm pretty heavy in computer science, so I do a lot of web applications. I was thinking of helping maybe Team Liquid or C-Star League in general. But yeah, nice. I just spent a lot of time working. Right now I have an 8-month term at RIM as a software developer. And yeah, just trying to fit in StarCraft whenever I can.
Perfect. And Jensulator, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Hey guys, I'm Matt Jensulator East. Right now I am a mechanical engineering student at RPI going into my sophomore year. A couple things I'm into. I do astronomy. I'm big into that. I'm also into, what else? Engineering education type of things with high school students, elementary school students, pretty much everyone. I'm doing a bit of that this summer and over the school year. So I also do streaming, and I just got into Complexity Academy, which is pretty cool.
Very cool. Cool.
Congratulations on that.
Yeah,
Thank
definitely.
You.
All right, so as you guys all know, you guys had a very successful run this last CSL season. Waterloo took second place, continuing to show that they are a dominating force in the CSL. RPI, this unbelievable Cinderella story where you guys kind of went from zeros in Brood War to heroes in SE2. And then Jensulator obviously having a fantastic season himself, going 16-2 with his 1-1 record. So how do you guys feel coming off this previous season? What were kind of your biggest nerd chills from this season? Let's go ahead and start with Steve.
Actually, my biggest nerd chill was when Jensulator beat JF because I thought he had no chance. Actually, like when RPI beat UT, I literally thought it was going to be UT versus Waterloo finals. I had no doubt in my mind. But Jensulator took down JF, and I was like insanely surprised. That's probably my biggest nerd chill. Also, our closest matches were probably like us versus Riverside. Came down to the ace, and that was pretty close. So I guess that's my biggest nerd chills.
Cool. So do you feel pretty good coming off the end of this season with how Waterloo did?
If you look at the results, I mean, second is okay, but
It's okay.
Against UBC, I think we didn't perform to our potential at all.
Okay.
Well, I think we should have taken that easily, but it's just... I guess I can go into a little bit about why that happened. Okay. So, as most of you know, the score, ending score was 1-4. They only went off of the 2v2. I played the game after. Again, it doesn't count for anything. The pressure's off, but it ended up being 4-2. Mm-hmm. So... As most of you already know, that Combat X was actually banned a couple matches ago because of his mannerisms, or his bad mannerisms. Yeah, in stream chat. And again, there's a lot of controversy. I talked a lot about Xerus and Mona with this, but in the end, he got a warning, and they decided to ban him. I don't think it was warranted. I think that the Combat X is actually not a bad guy, to be honest. I know him in real life for a long time, and he's actually he's a nice guy inside, like deep inside, right? You really gotta dig for the good. But on the outside, he's a little bit showy. He likes to show to people that he's the shit or whatever he likes to call it. And that obviously contributed to him being banned from CSL. He's definitely my hardest working player in CSL. He practices tons for his games. The first time he came out against, I think it was Florida, he lost, and he really hated that. So he never lost a single 1v1 after that, I think. So that was very good. And so we didn't have our star player in the grand finals. And I don't know. I guess it was also final season. Nobody wanted to practice during the grand finals. People didn't take... honestly, Waterloo didn't take UBC that seriously. And that, I think, was one of my most regretted facts, I would say. I knew that, coming into this, I was playing, so I practiced a ton because I lost a couple games before that against Riverside and McGill. But we were coming off a dominating win versus McGill, and everyone is feeling really confident. And I feel that we definitely underestimated UBC a little bit.
All right. It's actually kind
of... Besides that, second is good, so...
I'd say so. I'd say it's pretty good. Waterloo obviously has a great history with the CSL. Winning first place in Season 2. You guys are always been a dominating force in the CSL, so I think you guys did pretty well this season. Yeah, and congratulations. Continue on with the hard work. Speaking of hard work, let's go ahead and pass this over to Matt from RPI. You guys had an unbelievable success this year, especially compared to your last couple of seasons with RPI in the CSL. So why don't you go ahead and just tell me a little bit about how you feel coming off the end of this season?
Well, I feel pretty good about it because when me and Mattis were talking over the summer about getting a new CSL team going, I never even thought we would get the playoffs. I thought we'd probably do similar to how we did in the Brood War times. And then all of a sudden we had an influx of new players, and we had a really good team going. And so even just making playoffs, I would have been happy. And we ended up, tying for third or fourth, however you want to call it, with McGill. And so I feel pretty good about that.
Yeah, I'd say you certainly deserve that. Do you have any kind of a big nerd chill moment from the season? Or anything that you're just kind of like, whoa?
Yeah, I'd have to say the point I was most excited during the season was in our regular season match against Georgia Tech, because at that point, I think people still weren't taking the team that seriously. They were like, oh, RPI is kind of having a lucky streak. And everyone thought Georgia Tech was the best team in our division. And then all of a sudden, we took it to the ace match, and Street ended up being Master Asia. And
nice.
People were like, whoa, RPI is actually getting pretty good.
Yeah.
Great.
It's like you guys are living up, because Idra was supposed to be attending your school before he went to Korea, and now you're living up to the huge name that he left behind, or the possibility.
I have a funny story about that. So you guys know Elvish Pie, right? He's our Protoss player.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So if Idra had come, he would have been the same year as Elvish Pie, and they both would have been physics majors on scholarships. And Elvish Pie looks remarkably similar to Idra. It's kind of creeps us out.
I'm gonna look him up.
Yeah, now I gotta look that up.
And he's got pictures of cats on his Facebook, and I found a picture of Idra holding a cat at his computer, and I'm like, they gotta be the same people. It's just unbelievable.
To be honest, though, Elvish Pie is Protoss. I don't think Idra would ever play Protoss. Just saying.
Oh, it's a secret. Well, here's the thing. Elvish Pie is really, really cheesy as Protoss, so if Idra played Protoss, I think he'd be like, well, damn, I got all this bullshit I can... why not do it?
Yeah,
nice.
maybe.
Okay, one last. Let's just pass it on to Jensuliter then. How do you feel coming up this season personally as a player from the CSL?
I actually feel pretty amazing because this is my freshman year. This is I'm just coming out of my freshman year, so I have 3 more years and then grad school of this. So I really have a lot to be looking forward to, and I'm really happy that we were able to pull this off. It was actually kind of amazing because most of our team, all the power is coming from the freshmen and the sophomores. Elvish Pie is our only junior. Or our only notable junior. Everyone else is just freshmen and sophomores, so we have a long ways to go, really.
Cool. So it kind of sounds like RPI is building up a bit of a dynasty then. They've got quite the asset in you. Speaking of building up dynasties, we've all kind of come off the end of this last season, and so it's time to start thinking about the upcoming season this fall. So, any ideas of what you guys are doing to prepare for this next season? Any summertime activities or anything of that sort? Let's go ahead and start with Matt.
Well, I'm just reminding all the players to keep practicing, keep laddering, so I'm kind of giving them bumps, nudges every now and then to remind them to ladder. I'm trying to pick up the pace as well, and I know a lot of the other players who didn't get a chance to play last season are doing the same. And that's pretty much it. None of our players are leaving. We don't have any holes to fill, so as long as we keep in practice, we're going to continue to be a top team.
All right. How about over there at Waterloo, Steve? Do you guys have anything planned in preparation?
To be honest, after the grand finals, we kind of took it easy for a long time, even now.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to share a secret with you guys. Next year, I don't think our team's going to be the same. Definitely it's going to be different because, well, some of our players are graduating. So some notable ones include our 2v2 player, Super Ninja. He was very instrumental in our 2v2 team. As well as Sunny Jai, he's also moving. As well as Cole Anti-Mage. He's, I think, moving to Toronto. Yeah, we don't care about him anyways. Cool. But some of the bigger parts are, again, combat. I think I've talked to Zeros, and he agrees that combat, instead of a lifetime ban, he should include a season ban, so next season he can't play. Again, we need to discuss this, but I think we got nailed down. I would say our ace, his name is Humble now, Energy Humble. He's gone inactive. Our really only notable player is probably me and Campbell. That's still remaining active. So I really got to dig for new talent, which, again, is very, very plentiful in Waterloo. But
yeah, I was about to ask you. It sounds like you guys might be needing to do a little bit of recruiting. Do you have any plans for that?
Well, to be honest, we have a lot of talent at Waterloo. Yeah. One of the things, actually choosing the top 7 players was still very difficult for us. Some of the good players are still left on the benches when we play for the grand finals and regional finals. And we might start using them, but again, I want to emphasize talent, not just work. Talent and hard work, I think. I do have some players in mind that are very talented. They just have really good game sense, really good understanding of the game without even playing that much. As well as I'm looking for players that just puts a lot of time and effort. So really hard-working guys who just sits there laddering for 8 hours a day. That'd be great for me. But yeah, you see a dynamic change in Waterloo's team. I think this year's Waterloo's team in Brute War was very strong because we worked very, very hard at it. I remember back in the our first season 2, every single playoffs, we worked our asses off. I mean, just hours and hours and hours of practicing the same map, same matchup, with different practice partners, getting the same styles down. This time at StarCraft 2, our top players were very non-committal. It's a first for me. It's a first time for me to see, people not practicing as hard as I like them to be. Right. And hopefully in Waterloo's later seasons, this season, the upcoming season, we'll have a definite player change, as well as probably work habits change. I think our team will be weaker in the beginning, but that's okay. It's season. I'm pretty sure Waterloo will just make playoffs regardless of how bad we suck. Sorry, but yeah, come playoffs, I hope that we have a completely new team attitude as well as updated players with very high skill level.
Oops. Very cool. It's kind of.
I screwed something up. Okay, no, we're good.
Oh, all right, we're good. All right, then let's just pass this on then to Jen Suluter. Anything that you personally are doing to prepare for next season, or have you just been taking it easy?
I've actually been, obviously I've been playing pretty hard, but I've also gotten in touch with, about 3 or 4 maybe incoming freshmen for next year. And we're definitely planning on putting on some type of tournament with some small prizes just to attract the new freshmen at the beginning of the year. We're going to be doing a lot to recruit. So if there are good players coming in, we're going to find them. We've already found at least a Masters player or 2. I kind of forgot to mention about my biggest nerd chills from the season. You guys mind if I throw those out there?
No, go for it.
We were playing a game against University of Oregon. I think we were up one game, and it was the second game. And I was playing against a Protoss player, and I was actually, my computer was kind of flaking out, so I had to go on my friend's computer. Wasn't used to the mouse. I actually spent like the first 3 minutes of the game like trying to figure out settings, trying to change the mouse settings and stuff. And I was like freaking out. I was like, this is bad. And like I was so uncomfortable with the setup. Like my APM was around like 60 or so, maybe 50. And what happened was he ended up proxy gating me. And right when he put down the first gateway, I put the barracks down right on top where he was going to put it. So it canceled the creation of his first gateway. So he had to end up putting it elsewhere. And what I ended up doing was I built. I actually canceled SCV production, and I saved up money for buildings, and I surrounded the gateway with buildings such that when the zealots popped out, they popped out on the corner where they literally couldn't do anything, and they just popped out and they were just stuck in the corner because I just surrounded it with buildings. And that was quite epic. The lecture hall did go crazy.
That is awesome.
That is
I was pretty
sick.
excited to get back after that. It was intense. And I shut down the cheese, and I continued to finish things up. And then the next game, our first cheesy game of the season, our 2v2 team dealt the cheese to revenge the cheese that was dealt to me. And there were some proxy spine crawlers, some proxy cannons, and it was perfect.
Sweet. That's pretty awesome.
I know, it's great.
That's actually really awesome.
I'm gonna copy that strategy now.
So we're going to switch gears a little bit here, and we're just going to talk about Canada for a little bit. Canadian schools were pretty consistently powerful this last season. They've always been powerful in the CSL. And this last season alone, of the top 4 schools, 3 of them were Canadian. So what do you guys think is attributing to this kind of Canadian dominance of the CSL? Obviously, Canadians are pretty successful. Remember Huck today alone at DreamHack. Let's just go ahead and start this off with Waterloo and hear what you guys have to say. What do you think it is that is so special about Canada?
Well, to be honest, I always thought UT and Waterloo were the top 2 schools in CSL, like forever, even in Brewer days. So, and now UBC comes out and their lineup is even more beastly now. I mean, Firezerk, Star Life, Wannabe, and apparently Nova Star Life's teacher is also there, who is very, very good. So they're a very, very good team now. In US, there's not too many notable schools. I think you guys have way too many schools, and your talent is very spread out. So, with the exception of the UC teams, which are just by Blizzard headquarters, I think, it's just because you have so many schools and the talent's very spread out, as opposed to where, there's not that many really good schools in Toronto area, except like UT and Waterloo, maybe York, but they're like literary people, right? But anyone who's interested in computer science or like engineering or math probably went to UT or Waterloo, and whereas in US you have a lot more options. So I think just not necessarily we have more better players, it's just that our talents are more concentrated in a fewer schools.
Matt, do you have any thoughts on the matter?
That point
any
that
insight?
Steve brought up about the U.S. schools being spread out was really interesting. I didn't think of it that way before, but it makes a lot of sense. What I was going to say was the Canadian schools that we've seen doing very good, Toronto, Waterloo, very good schools in general in terms of academics and stuff like their math and comp sci programs, and those attract a lot of very, intelligent people. And typically when you have more intelligent people playing the game, they're just better at it.
Jinsuliter, any thoughts on the matter?
Yeah, sure. When you think about Canada, I mean, they were really the first people who were foreigners to get a big name into Korea. And, I mean, it started out with Gur. I hope you guys remember Gur. He is the only foreigner to ever win an OSL. He was really the first foreigner in Korea to actually make a name for themselves. And ever since then, I mean, Canada's been doing pretty good. I mean, if you look at some of the Canadian teams we've played, let's see, Kwantlen Polytech. No, they weren't that good. Some of them, some of the teams, they just had so many names that were Korean. There was one where like every single last name was Korean, of Korean origin, and I was just like, okay, so that makes sense. So I guess there's a lot of Korean population in Canada, but that could contribute to it. It might not, but I don't know. It's just an observation that I've made.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Okay, so I want to ask you guys another question here. UBC, who unfortunately are not with us tonight, boast a huge number of Grandmaster players in their lineup. So it shows that collegiate schools can have some pretty strong teams. So just kind of throwing it out there, do you guys think that any collegiate team could go toe-to-toe with like a foreigner pro team? Like, what if UBC went toe-to-toe with EG or something like that? Well, how do you guys think that kind of thing would pan out? Let's just go ahead and start with Jen Suliter.
If UBC went up against something like EG, it depends. I think Starlife could take a game, could probably actually take a best of 3 off of probably anyone. Maybe even Idra. I know he could take a game off a match off Axlav, a match off. Who else is there? There's In Control. He could take a match off of pretty much anyone. Maybe even Idra. I don't know about the rest of them, though, because after that, UBC has some great players, and I think maybe every, I don't know, they could take off, let's see their roster.
They have good roster.
I'm
Very,
sure
very
Validity Saga, if he got lucky, he could do he could take off some games. He might be able to win a match. TQ Wannabe might be able to win a match. But beyond that, I really don't think there's enough depth in UBC or almost any college lineup to be able to take off games off of people in EG beyond those 3. But, I mean, if it's a best of 5 and each match is best of 3, I think Starlife, TQ Wannabe, and Validity Saga might be able to put off wins. I don't know. It would be difficult, but possible.
Do you mind if I add something to that right now? So,
yeah, sure, of course.
So what you're talking about is a best of 3 series, maybe 1-on-1, or maybe something like the EG's Masters Cup format. But what if we went to like the Pro League format, which is just one set of a 1v1? So when taking just one game off a superior opponent is all it takes to score you a point. Like, look at RPI. They don't have a crazy 5 Grandmaster lineup, but they just had a well-rounded, solid practice regimen. Their team was very close. They just knew how to work together. They knew how to collaborate and take games off, say arguably better schools with better rosters. What about then? What if say UBC with their 5 Grandmasters? What if they just got together and worked together to take some games off other pro teams? Because in my opinion, then at least a school like UBC or Waterloo, and at least the top 3 CSL schools, they would give a pro team at least the run for their money.
Okay, I gotta add something, guys.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Okay. Honestly, I have a lot of Brewer players that are still one on the team. They're not switching over. But if I were to have my ideal team, and all of them are, if you give me 2 weeks, my ideal team, I think can definitely take on EG. 1v1. If you have one Severus, one, yeah, we take them out. Because this is why EG, they have to play tons and tons of games. They're focused on whatever clan, and if they were to have a clan war with us, it's not important because they would just have some kind of show match. They don't really care about it. They know nothing about us. They know nothing about our play styles. Well, we know everything. We can search up the replays of all their players and know their styles extensively. Plus, we're just preparing for one match, and we're preparing for one snipe build. That's all we're doing. We don't. Skill obviously comes in discussion here. But if we're just talking about snipe build, it's not necessarily cheat. It's just a really strong push that sometimes they're vulnerable. We research about them, give us 2 weeks, and we give us dedication, hard work. Just literally work at it. We can definitely take them out. It's not even a question.
Nice. I like that.
Yeah. Because we're not saying it's the best of 100 and we gotta win that. That's impossible. I mean, they play the game professionally, 10 hours plus a day. But if it was just one game, anyone can take games off anyone.
All right, I like that.
Could I
go ahead.
add one more thing to that question? Out of all the
Sure.
pro teams, not just EG, out of all pro teams, what do each of you think? Which team could you snipe?
Well, like define pro team. I mean, there's some there's some teams that are really bad, and that's not being sponsored. Or are you talking about sponsor teams?
Yeah, like sponsored teams, like the ones everyone knows about, like FXO, Complexity, or even throw in like maybe the former Root team in there. I don't know. So
I think Korean teams are really, really strong because I always want to say this, but I never had a chance to. The difference between Koreans and foreigners. Foreigners try to find an innovative build or some kind of way to cheat themselves to a win. And I want to use the word cheat because that's what it seems like they're doing. While Koreans, they take the most basic builds and they know it so well and they play scrappy. Their strong suit is not having a great build. Their strong suit is that no matter what's being thrown at them, they will never die until you outplay them in the late game. And that's the difference between foreigners and Koreans. And this really contributes a lot to why Koreans are winning in the current scene. Because if you have to beat a Korean, you have to beat them in late game only, and that's difficult for anyone because they're solid macro and stuff. But you can catch foreigners off guard very easily. So I think that if we were to play a pro team and have a chance of beating them, it would definitely be an unstable top pro team, foreigners. Okay,
I don't know about you. I don't know about you, but I think RPI could definitely take a match off of FOU or Zenix because those teams are trash. I don't know.
Well, I completely disagree with that. I think we're definitely, when you see the Koreans playing, you think that, wow, that guy has horrible like game sense or something. He's in a pro team and, going for GSL for a reason. And, he has some winning builds, he has some winning stuff. If he's lacking game sense, that means everything else that you're not seeing is really strong. Right?
All right.
That's a trend that... Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Sorry. Get your last thought in.
Yeah, but that's always when you watch a Korean and a foreigner Brute War play. That's entire difference. Brute War players in Korea are just so scrappy. I mean, they never overdrone. I'm Zerg. I've always been Zerg, so I talk about Zerg a little bit. They never overdrone. They always know. They always prioritize, units over drones and have always some kind of fighting chance, no matter what cheese they're being thrown against, and never greedy. And that's a huge part, even in StarCraft 2.
All right. Well, we've been going a little long here, so I guess we kind of want to end this with one last question to all of you, which is, what are you looking forward to most for this next season for CSL? What do you guys hope to see? Like, what's one key change you'd like to see, or just what in general are you looking forward to the most? So let's just go ahead and start with Matt.
Definitely getting a second chance at making it to the finals, because I felt like we definitely could have beaten UBC. I think maybe we were focusing too much on not letting it get to the ace match, and so Genesis didn't get a chance to practice for TVT and medal as much. And so I'm thinking next time, if we get to the playoffs, we're going to focus on every single matchup, even the potential ace match, and make sure that we get at least to the finals.
All right. Let's just go ahead and shoot it to Steve next.
Okay, so my one suggestion would be, I'd like the season to be a little shorter, to be honest. I talked with Mona about this, and Mona agrees with me, but apparently a lot of people like a longer season. And, I mean, for some of the stronger schools, making playoffs is just, I guess, pretty routine at this point. I mean, UCI for sure, UCSD, RPI, UBC, UT, and Waterloo are pretty much guaranteed for playoffs. But having a long season, just, not only do the weaker teams suffer, so some of the teams who never win a single match, I think being dragged on, losing week after week for 6 months, last season was, is a little tiring. I think people would prefer probably a 3 month, followed by the next month being playoffs, so they can cheer for their favorite teams in the CSL and just starting over fresh if they had a losing record. So that'd be my one suggestion.
So almost splitting the regular season length into two, possibly doing 2 seasons or something along those lines.
Well, I mean, maybe having a different structure of playing, maybe more groups, something like that. But 6 months for a season, or even longer than that, is a bit long, I think.
Yeah, well, obviously that is something that we are discussing, and we are taking the input from the players like yourself, so we do really appreciate your input on something like that. Jen Suluter, how about you? Last season, or not last season, last respondent. How do you feel about next season? What do you hope to see? Any big change, or just what in general are you looking forward to?
Name your favorite torture weapon. You don't have to do it now, just in your head. And I will be using that and several others to keep all the top players in our team in shape. Jack Bauer, Jim Demand, Tezar, VP Street, Elvish Pie. They were tarred last season, but they could definitely put a lot more effort in, especially preparing for specific matches. We did a lot of that, but we can even add in a little bit more. And I really think that if we get the recruiting down from the new freshmen, maybe find some hidden talent amongst grad students or something like that, I think that we can really push our way into first place, not third place or whatever. But I really think that if we really whip ourselves into shape, we could make a little bit of a difference, which is needed to make us hit the top.
Cool. Well, one last thing before we wrap this up. Do you guys have any shout-outs, personal shout-outs you guys like to throw out there? Steve, how about let's go ahead and start with you. Any shout-outs you'd like to throw out to the internet?
Yeah, for sure. Zeros and Mona, definitely, for getting this great league. Without them, nothing would have ever started. Especially Mona, she started off splitting the CSL into 2 leagues, managing everything herself, gathered support from there. Zeros joined later on, as well as you guys, Shindigs, and Hilloboy. Sorry, I've been pronouncing your name Gilliboy for the longest time.
No, you can say
Gilliboy forever.
Yeah,
Gilliboy forever? All right.
Idra.
Yeah. Also for all the great teams such as RPI, UBC, and just for participating, taking this seriously, making sure that everyone in university can have something to watch, something to play for, and it's just really good. Thanks, guys.
Right. Well, thank you, Matt. How about you? Any shout-outs you'd like to throw out?
Yeah, if there are any incoming RPI freshmen listening, feel free to contact me or Consulitor about playing with us. We're very friendly, promise to be nice to you, even if you're like bronze newbie or something like that. And also shout out to TT Esports for the great mouse pads that we got. I'm using it right now, actually. It's pretty sweet. I'm going to have to distribute them to the team when we get back in the fall.
Sponsors somewhere over there. But TT Esports,
we'll be giving them
TV.
Yep. Big shout-outs to our sponsors. We'll just go ahead and throw that in there right now. Fantastic. They made a lot of last season happen, so obviously everybody go support them. Let's go ahead and end this. Any shout-outs for you, Jen Suluter? You want to throw out there?
Yeah, sure. Definitely. I'd love to give a shout-out to the CSL staff. You guys do an amazing job. You really keep this thing running beautifully. I'd also love to give a shout-out to the competitors, including Waterloo here. You guys... all the competitors, you guys, they really keep this thing working. I'd love to give a shout out to my stream viewers, our fans of the RPI CSL team, the CSL team itself at RPI. All of you guys, thank you so much.
Also, can I just add one more thing? I forgot to mention my team. So just a quick shout out to my team, all the great players that play for me over the years, definitely. Combat X, Campo, Jackass, Anti-Mage, Assault. I'm sure there's a lot more we're missing. La La La, Grant, Eloquius, Super Ninja, MB. Just keep going.
All right. Well, thank you guys for coming on. We know you guys are probably I don't know. It's summer. You guys can't be that busy. But big shout outs to you guys. Thank you for coming on. It's really a pleasure to talk to you. We love getting a chance to hear personally from the players and the coordinators in the league. So thank you guys very much for taking the time to do this. Thank you to the listeners and viewers out there who are tuning in right now or maybe watching the VOD later. Continue to support the CSL. We love you guys, and we're going to bring you guys some great things this summer. So actually go check out our page, cstarleague.com. We've got a lot of really fun summer events. I hope some of you three are signed up for some of that. I know Steve did our qualifiers last week, so I hope to see the rest of you guys in some of the other events. So, Tim, do you have any last things to say, or are we going to go ahead and shut this down?
Not much else to say. I just want to thank everyone for watching, first of all, or anyone listening to this on a pre-recorded VOD or audio, so tell your friends. I want to say thank you to everyone above us who joined us today to discuss. They had really awesome input and really awesome discussion to put into this. It's always great to hear from the coordinators as well, so I definitely want to get in contact with them and do this again some other time. But other than that, thanks to our sponsors, TTE Sports, Justin TV, for being just so awesome. And, of course, just thanks to everyone who plays in the season, because that's what makes it happen.
Great. All right. Well, again, thanks to everybody, and we'll see you guys next time.
All right.
Thanks, guys.
All right, thanks for having us. See you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And this is going to shut it down right now.